To be honest, I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. We have 4 kids together. 7 months have passed since we had our last child. We weren't really ready for our last baby because I had my tubes tied 8 years before they got pregnant. Our house wasn't big enough, etc. That's why we chose to sell our house and move into a bigger one. When I was 6 months pregnant, we sold our house and moved an hour away to the town where my husband grew up. We found a beautiful farmhouse that was a lot cheaper than we had planned. It was great. It wasn't until moving to the hometown of my husband was possibly the worst thing we could have done for our family. He has been having guests every day since we moved in. Things have never been like this before. After about a month, I told him I was sick of having guests over all the time. That's when he started leaving for hours at a time, every weekend, and at least once during the week. His school friends called him more than 6 times a night when he was home. He was asked to come do them a favor, have a fire, drink some beer, and so on. My husband would go even if he didn't want to. Because this kept going on after I gave birth, it led to a lot of fights. It didn't change until he got home at 2 a.m. from one of his regular hangouts and found me packing up everything for me and the kids. At this point, the child was about 3 months old. He begged me to stay and said things would get better. He has been honest about it, too. I wasn't upset that he stopped going out so often, only once or twice a month. What's new, though, is that his friends John, Cindy, John's lover, and Ben have been coming here a lot lately. They bring their kids because we live right on the river and have a fire pit. We have BBQs and other fun things. My PP has been toned down, so I don't mind when people come over. But these people have said things about how much they don't like their kids the last 2 times they've been here. I've lost track of how many times I say, "FUK those kids" every night. They say it to my husband and me too whenever we talk about having to do something for our kids. I've always stood up for all of the kids, and my husband used to too. But now he just sits there and doesn't say a word, which really bothers me. Like he's taking on the same attitude as his friends. I've seen him lose patience with the kids and become a lot more irritable since he hangs out with these people. But last night, I had a moment because Ben was yelling at his 16-year-old daughter while they were on the phone, calling her names like "F king dumb" and "ignorant" right there in front of everyone. Upon ending the call, he turned to my husband and said, "FUK those kids, man." I told him no, that was rude. We like our kids a lot. Ben gets mad when I tell him he's rude, but he doesn't say anything. When everyone left last night, I told my husband, I don't want these people here anymore. I don't like being around people who don't understand how kids feel. We are not setting a good example by hanging out with these people because I teach my kids that's not okay and that you are who you hang out with. He agreed with me that Ben was too much, and John and Cindy are just joking when they say that I told him he couldn't have it. You don't joke about how much you hate your kids like they do. They're just as bad as Ben because they laughed while he yelled at his daughter, and I don't want them here at all, not one of them. He feels like I'm trying to control him and says I want him to have no friends besides me and the kids because I always find an issue with the people he hangs out with. AITA?